Zombie Enfranchizement, the court battle. Zombie civil rights group The White Hand lodges suit against the state for zombie enfranchisement, with counselors MichaelBrent Collings representing the state and DJ Butler representing The White Hand. Craig Nybo as the judge. Panel held at Comicon, the Fan Experience, Salt Lake City, April 17th, 2014. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and start. You're in for the court battle. Zombies have filed for enfranchisement. Before we get into that, we're going to introduce ourselves. We'll start with MichaelBrent.
I'll stand up. Are we introducing our real selves?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You have a fake self?
You have to plug it.
Counselor?
Do you have a fake self? All lawyers have fake selves. My name's MichaelBrent Collings. I'm a novelist and screenwriter. I am one of the most successful independent horror writers in the United States. I've been one of Amazon's top-selling horror writers for over 2 years. I'm also a produced screenwriter and member of the Writers Guild of America, and I pop up periodically on every one of Amazon's major bestseller lists: science fiction, fantasy, thrillers, all that good stuff, and that's all I do. I also am in the process of writing what's probably going to be an 8-part zombie epic called The Colony Saga. So I also do zombies.
I'm Dave Butler. I write novels. I'm actually working with Craig also on some TV shows in development, but I write steampunk and horror and fantasy. I've got self-published stuff, and I've got actually 2 different forthcoming book deals with major publishers in the middle reader space. A murder mystery story in which the ghost of a little girl solves her own murder, and an action fantasy steampunk retelling of Pinocchio. So anytime over the weekend, it's pretty bitchin'. I'm not going to put that on the cover of the book.
That would be great. Like authors start blurbing their own books.
This book is bitchin', you 8-year-olds.
Dave Butler.
So I'm in R5, and I'll be there all weekend. Come find me and talk.
And Dave and I have been friends for quite a few years.
Yep.
But we stop now.
Yeah. Advantage karate man.
Name is Craig Nybo. Like Dave says, I'm working with him on some comedy, some cartoon television shows. I'm an author also. My book that's probably most relevant to this situation is Allied Zombies for Peace. It's just your run-of-the-mill zombies versus the KKK story. We've all... Another one for the fire, right? So, and I'm also a musician. So Zombie Sing Along are some of the records. Actually, Dave played on this record. Dave has a guitar solo on this record.
He's the one going.
I can't get part 1, by the way. Is part one not available?
I will give it to you.
No, I'll buy it from you. We'll bring it.
I'm also big fans of both these authors. I've read multiples of their books, and I highly recommend that you do it too. And I am also in the Artist Alley, which is the place down in the expo where you can get things signed for free. So come on over and visit all 3 of us.
Well, my autographs are $15, but I will throw in a free book.
Free book. Yeah. Well played, sir.
Okay. The U.S. government versus zombies suing for enfranchisement. The right to vote will begin immediately. First, we need to impanel a jury. Can I have everybody raise their hands, please? I'm going to ask a series of questions, and I'm going to ask you to either keep your hand up or put your hand down. And then I'm going to allow our lawyers, our counsel, to ask a few questions as well. Number 1, keep your hand up if you are a George Romero fan. Whoa, some hands went down. Keep your hand up if you know what a deadite is. Keep your hand up if you know what Soylent Green is made of. If you believe zombies should be quick moving, put your hand down.
I think you might be down to 12 already.
Yeah, we might be.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, I'm going to allow you guys some questions too.
All right.
All right, if you're a libertarian, please put your hand down. Final question. If you have ever tasted human flesh, put your hand down. I turn questions over to the council.
Holy crap.
Okay. So, we each have 2 questions. Yeah?
Yes.
All right. You in the mask. Do you hate poor, hungry people? All right, he can keep his hand up.
Anybody think zombies would make good pets? If you do, keep your hand up.
All right. Drop your hand. If you have never gotten a bad look or a rude comment for your personal habits, your body odor, your grooming. Never. If you've had immaculate, flawless personal habits, flawless, immaculate, never smelled of dead flesh, you should feel free to drop your hand.
Anyone who is pro Second Amendment, keep your hand up.
Those who have your hands up, please stand. I'm going to give counsel the opportunity to throw out up to two jurors.
I'm going to toss the 2 in the back because I don't like people that sit in the back.
Let the record reflect there are 3 in the back.
2 on the side, 2 on the side. No, you don't. You on this side, you up. There you go.
There are multiple sides, counselor. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ding curly-haired Star Trek guy.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I notice you hate curly-haired people.
I do. They have hair still. I resent them.
And Star Trek.
I don't resent Star Trek, but I think I resent this guy with too much gold. I don't resent you. I'm concerned about your feelings about civil liberties, sir. Please take a seat.
Okay, I'm going to read the case. The civil rights organization, the White Hand, has lodged suit against the United States government for the purpose of securing voting enfranchisements for the undead. The White Hand claims that increasing sentience in zombies grants them the same rights as warm individuals. The White Hand argues that the sentiment that zombies are a violent threat to humanity is largely false. Their exhibits include records that, according to their claim, prove that zombie violent crime does not exceed violent crime among humans. Opening statements. Counsel?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Your Honor, Mr. Collings. Before we enter into the deep thickets of the law, I want to give you a summary of the law that will apply here. Because we're going to talk about constitutional rights, and it becomes complex, and I don't want to lose our way. Let me tell you in one simple sentence what the applicable law is. Are you ready? If there's a less restrictive way, you must let zombies vote today. If there's a less restrictive way, you must let zombies vote today. Say it with me. If there's a less restrictive way, you must let zombies vote today. Very good.
Objection.
Fantastic.
The jury can't talk.
Objection sustained.
Manifestly they can, Your Honor. I withdraw the chant, but not the statement of law. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, we take our stand as we must upon the United States Constitution, as given to us by God and General Washington. I would draw your attention in particular to the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution, part of the Bill of Rights, passed as a necessary part of the deal that ratified the entire Constitution, which in pertinent part says, the federal government may not deprive any person of liberty without due process of law. The federal government may not deprive any person of liberty without due process of law. This has come to mean that courts have the power to protect the rights of people, even when those rights are not specifically spelled out in the Constitution. Now, you may say to yourself, there's something problematic, there's something terribly missing. What about those states? Are they not the scourge of individual rights? Are they not bastions of bigotry, small town, small-mindedness? And you're right, they are. They can be. but due to the particular nature of the forging of our union, at the time, states were not treated. That was seen to be an oversight. That was clearly an oversight. And for 8 decades, we struggled. And in the end, we were ultimately so concerned that states also should not have the ability to trample the liberty of persons, that we fought a war. And we left thousands of our dead upon the fields of Antietam, Chancellorsville, Gettysburg, so that we could enact the 14th Amendment, which says that no state government shall deprive any person of liberty without due process of law. No state government. Now, I want to talk about one road down which the state may seek to lead us, which is misbegotten, which is an error. To see the error, we have to make an observation together. It's this: voting is a fundamental right. Voting is a fundamental right. Why is voting a fundamental right? It's a fundamental right because it's part of what holds the fabric of our Constitution together. It goes to structure. It's not about pleasure. It's about holding the powerful responsible. We must have the right to vote. Must have the right to vote. The courts have always so held, and we fought a war to make sure states could not deprive people in this country of their right to vote and exercise similar liberties. Voting is a fundamental right. That means the standard that the state must uphold to take away the fundamental right of voting is called strict scrutiny. It means that the state must show it has a compelling interest and that the means it chooses are narrowly tailored to the end. A compelling interest and narrowly tailored to the end. And I want to remind you, what was the statement of law we had? Oh, you can't chant, I'm sorry. The court has taken away your right of speech. I'll remind you. I will tell you what it is.
Counselor, watch out.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the warning. If there's a less restrictive way, you must let zombies vote today. No one's going to stand here and tell you that zombies are friendly. They're not. My clients smell bad. So do children. My clients have poor manners. So do your children. And my clients have a fundamental problem, which is that they are hungry all the time. So do your children. Does this mean your children should be deprived of their fundamental rights? No. Nor should my clients. Nor should my clients.
We'll have order in this court.
2 questions. Does the state have a compelling interest? Clearly not. The state's interest is preventing murder. But humans commit murder. Bears commit murder. We don't proactively lock up or euthanize humans and bears because there's a less restrictive way. The less restrictive way to deal with that compelling interest is criminal law. And my clients absolutely should be subject to, in full, to the strictures of criminal law. If a zombie succumbs to that terrible burning need within to eat a brain, that zombie should be held accountable in a court of law. There's no question. That's not in dispute. Not a compelling interest. And the other question you have to ask is there a less restrictive way? The state has to prove there's no less restrictive way. That the method, the remedy, taking away my client's right to exercise their right to vote, taking them out of the civic process, is the only thing that can be done. Well, let me suggest 3 remedies. 1, you've surely seen the recent documentary Shaun of the Dead. Zombies do not have to be relegated into dungeons and the wilderness. With care, with love, they can be full, productive members of society. They can babysit your children with proper care, play video games with you, and be your personal shoppers, as we all saw in the documentary. I would draw your attention as a second example. I offer 3, and then I'll turn the time over to the state and its rapacious Mr. Collings. From another recent documentary called Warm Bodies. Some of you may have seen it. I would say this.
I'm going to overrule this objection. I'm going to let him speak.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Collings has no heart. But as you saw in Warm Bodies, zombies do. Zombies do. And a less restrictive means for dealing with the zombie threat, it is a real threat. Your neighbor is a threat. The dog down the street's a threat. Yes, zombies are a threat. The less restrictive way to deal with the zombie threat is love. Love. And for the third thing, I would point you to the works of notorious tall tale teller, Mr. MichaelBrent Collings. In particular, his book, The Colony. And you should understand about The Colony that it is manifestly a work of fiction. Because if The Colony were true, none of us would be here today. The Colony, probably none of us would be gay. None of us would be alive would be the problem. If you read Mr. Collins' fiction...
What are you here for?
Justice, sir. I'm here for justice and love.
We will not be having drinks after this.
I accept that as the price I pay. In Mr. Collins' fictional view of zombies, their mere appearance causes the collapse of civilization. Mass murder, blood in the streets, 90% of the population dead or turned to zombies in the first 10 minutes. Look around you. This has not happened. This has not happened. We do not need to go down the fictional route. Mr. Collins' fervid imagination, lighting every zombie on fire, throwing them into pits to gnaw themselves to pieces, putting a jackboot eternally in their face, because it's fiction. The truth is care, manacles in the proper moment, and a little bit of love. And remember, two things. Would you take your rights from your children? Stinking, hungry little brutes that they are. Two, if there's a less restrictive way, you must let zombies vote today. Your Honor.
Counselor.
Thank you. Your Honor, members of the jury, esteemed nerds. As you can tell by my bow tie, my linen shirt, and my accent, I'm not learned like my law-spouting counsel over here. In fact, I'm not going to spout much law at you at all because it doesn't take a whole lot of law to know your children can't vote. Also, for the record, I don't think all your children smell nauseating.
You've not met them.
Or stink all the time. I also don't think your children, given the chance, will bite you in the throat and eat you. Now, is voting a right? Yes, for people who are alive.
Objection.
Is
it's a
it
false
a
statement
right?
of law. The
Is it-
Constitution does not specify
Is it-
life
I'm overruling it. I'm
challenges.
overruling it. Let him speak.
Outrageous, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Give notice of my intention to appeal.
Counselor, you will keep your commentary to yourself.
Noted.
Is it a right? Yes. Have I ever heard a case of digging up a corpse? Sticking their cold hand on the little punchy thing. Yes, I know, it seems that some legislators must have been voted in that way. But in reality, you must have a pulse. You must metabolize. You must grow. You must be alive. And it is preferred that you not bite the pollsters in the neck. Even though they are a-holes a great deal of the time. Now, esteemed counsel for the zombie menace,
Objection.
you can call me rapacious, but I can't call them a zombie menace.
My client is known as the White Hand, sir.
Ookity bookity.
Your comments are prejudicial.
I'm gonna sustain this objection.
I withdraw oogity boogity. Again, I'm just a small town lawyer. I don't come from a place that's so big it actually has city in the title.
Provo?
Salt Lake City. Your children can't vote. He talks a lot about, oh, bears kill people. We don't lock up bears. I don't see many bears in the polling stations. All we need is love. Why don't you go out and hug a grizzly? Just dive into a tank with a great white shark and give it a big old kiss. The things are dead. They're mean. Mostly they're dead. And that should be enough. Because there has never been a court ruling on a dead person because laws don't apply to dead people. Because they're supposed to stay dead. They lay down in the ground, and if they have any common sense and decency, they just stay there. But these mad buggers get up and bite people. But no, we should love them.
Yes, sir.
Because, well, I don't know why. First thing I do when I see a charging, decaying maniac who's going to bite me in the throat, suck my brains out and turn me into one of them, I think give him a Valentine's Day card. There are no civil rights for the dead. Any more than you get credit card offers for the dead.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah, you do. But that's because credit card offers are also evil. And like zombies, are basically soulless creations.
Objection.
Oh, would you like to argue the existence of a soul?
I'm gonna sustain that objection. Try to stay on topic,
I
Counselor.
apologize. He mentioned God, so I thought we would talk about metaphysics. I get all confused when I'm accused of being rapacious. I did like the Johnny Cochran line he threw at you. If there's no easier way, you must let him vote today or something like that. Well, there is an easier way. Shoot them all in the head.
Objection.
Sustained.
Counsel is mischaracterizing my comments. If there's no less restrictive
Ah,
way.
no less restrictive
Shooting
way.
my clients in the head would be, first of all, a criminal act. And secondly, somewhat more
Well,
restrictive of their ability to participate in the civil
I will
process.
say that, like his statement that there's no law against their voting, there's no law against shooting zombies in the head.
I'm going to allow that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, you see the uphill struggle my clients face.
Because they're dead. By the nature of being dead, pretty much everything after that is an uphill struggle. That is why Charles Dickens stopped writing when he died. Shakespeare died, no more writing. Cary Grant, dead, stopped making movies. You die and you're supposed to stop. Not just voting, everything. Ain't no civil rights. Ain't no rights at all. Except maybe you have a nice plot of ground next to Grandpappy. If you're Grandmammy. And if y'all stayed together. That's your business. I don't have a rhyme. I ain't Johnny Cochran, some big city lawyer with a suit. I just know if you don't have a pulse for an extended period of time, chances are you shouldn't be voting.
Mr. Collings, I think many of my clients would be happy to volunteer for you to come take their pulse personally.
That's because I'm a sexy beast.
I would have said tasty.
And that there is a tacit admission of their danger. And I rest on that.
All right. The White Hand presents improvements in UEIQ scores. The undead entity intelligence quotient has recently become widely used to determine the level of an undead sentience. Notable organizations, including the U.S. Undead Investigations Bureau, have made claims that the UEIQ score are climbing across the board. Some psychologists have even begun testing zombies using the standard human intelligence quotient and found that some undead rank in the upper 50s. The White Hand proposes that enfranchisement should not be a privilege just for the super intelligent. As part of their exhibits, they present a breakdown of UEIQ scores as evidence that intelligence is on the rise in the undead community. Counselor, would you care to comment?
Well, clearly there's a new average IQ. And this country has never held that intelligence was a basis for denying a person right to vote. It's interesting things Mr. Collings says that it's entertaining. Mr. Collings would like to live in a world in which dead do not arise from the grave. They should not, he says. They do not. They get nothing. All they get, but it's a counterfactual. We don't live in that world. This is the reaction of a man of 50 years ago, incapable of living in the world of today. Some people, when they die, lie still in their grave and don't get up. Others do not. Others get up. Mr. Collings says we don't take dead bodies out of the grave, drag them into the polling booth, and have their thumbs put on voting forms. And he is absolutely correct. And I would not suggest otherwise. We're not talking about corpses. We're talking about people who walk, who complain, who feel, who have every bit the same constitutional rights as Mr. Collings. Now, I know for a fact that Mr. Collings developed his barrel-chested physique in the karate dojos of Los Angeles, despite his small-town lawyer act and his bow tie. That's a man
May I object?
who in another country went to register his hands as lethal weapons.
Suspending that objection.
My goodness.
Stay on the case.
Let us assume, instead, a hypothetical. Were Mr. Collings a dangerous man for any reason?
Watch it, counselor.
Should a dangerous man lose the right to vote? Do we take the vote away from soldiers for their service because they become dangerous? We don't. Do we take the vote away from people who own weapons to defend themselves in their home? We don't. We don't take the vote away from dangerous people. We have laws. We punish them when they hurt each other. That's it. That's the least restrictive way to deal with the threat. Punish people when they break the law, whether they're a zombie or whether it's a karate practitioner from Los Angeles in a bow tie of whatever name.
I declare.
I hope you do.
Counselor?
Was that the end of his discussion on intelligence quotient? Because...
Well, sir, I was waiting for an argument from you, and what I heard was a bunch of discussions about things you wish the dead didn't do.
Okay, I'll talk about intelligence quotient.
Go.
All right, first let me address a couple points. Is that all right?
Sure.
All right. Zombies complaining. That's not complaining, that's gas. Please bear in mind, there's a difference between a soldier who is dangerous, who has the potential to harm someone, and someone who must feed on your brains.
Objection. Not must. Wants to.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't know that
allow
that's been proven. I don't know that that's been proven. Now, we talked about the intelligence quotient rising. First of all, I will point out that in the statement, I believe words of possibility were used. It wasn't definite, and so some doubt is cast on whether there is a rise in intelligence. Second of all, there are animals like octopuses. Interestingly enough, it is not octopi, it's octopuses. That can learn to navigate mazes when given enough chances. Do we let them vote because they get better at the mazes? That's a bitchin' octopus.
Objection. If Mr. Collings wishes to represent a series of octopuses, he may.
Or octopoda.
It is not the case at issue.
I'm going to allow it. I believe it's a worthwhile comparison.
Additionally, intelligence has never equaled value. Charles Manson, very smart. Hitler, very smart. The guy who invented those automatic toilet flushers that suck the little seat cover down right before you sit down, very smart. Do any of them deserve to live? I don't know. Bear in mind, intelligence has never equaled value.
That is true. That is true. We have never withheld from a citizen, from a person, a fundamental right on the basis of their being intelligent or not.
And we don't know if these zombies have any. We just don't. And so for counsel to bring in an argument of a bunch of maybes, well, I might as well say, maybe they'll all blow up tomorrow. I don't know. It's just silly. Maybe they'll all come and steal your daughters. If you have daughters. Maybe they went back in time and stole your daughters already, and that's why you don't have daughters. You're going to talk about something, prove it, or leave it out. You can't talk about maybes when you're talking about something as important as a pulseless monster voting.
So I would like to observe that Mr. Collings continues to live in the world of counterfactual fantasy. Now his zombies kidnap brides and travel through time. Neither one of which is an evidence.
Neither is the reality of higher intelligence.
The dead ought to stay in their graves when in fact they do not all do so.
Sure they ought to. I'm sorry, does anybody think they should get up? Sure, let's all get up. We'll all party like it's 1999.
Mr. Collings, with all the compassion in my heart, I wish that you do not ever come to feel the ceaseless hunger of my clients.
Me too, because then I'd be out fighting people left and right.
It is not a condition they enjoy. It is a simple fact of their existence. And I would also note, you appear to have conceded that the state's only issue is preventing murders.
No.
And you, in order to bear...
That's a mischaracterization. That is not my concession.
The burden that the law puts upon you, you must show that depriving zombies of their vote is narrowly tailored.
Object.
That you couldn't accomplish your end. Your Honor, are you familiar with the law? I give notice again of my intent to appeal.
I am sustaining the objection.
Object. Is the judge on trial?
He may be.
I sustain his objection on account of his bow tie.
Oh, I see. Well, I object to his stature.
I will hypothetically karate punch you in the junk.
I will take that as a concession.
Counselors, you will stay on topic.
And off his junk.
You raise the subject, sir.
Violent crime statistical balance among warm and undead beings. The White Hand claims that most bigotry aimed at the undead is based on violent crime perpetuated by zombies. They claim that zombies have no monopoly on violent crime. From the year 2000 to the present, there have been 165,068 documented warm-blooded murders. Undead murders come in at 173,142. That leaves an 8,074 gap between human and undead murder, a number claimed by the White Hand that is negligible when one considers war, which is purely a human endeavor. In the said time period between the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, the U.S. death toll comes in at 7,029, raising human-to-human slaughter to 172,097. This creates a 1,045 murder discrepancy leaning toward human-to-human killing. Would the U.S. government care to comment?
Sure. First of all, who cares? Piranha kill a bunch of people too. Not relevant. The fact that one group kills people and so does another group doesn't mean that Group A gets to vote. They still suck.
Well, then, Mr. Collings, what is the interest you were trying to protect here? If it's not to stop murder, do you just hate zombies? Do you just not want zombies to vote a zombie-friendly candidate?
I don't get to answer that. You know why? I'm not on trial. Now, having ignored my learned counsel, off to the side over there, living in dreamland. Here's the other question. That very statement uses terms repeatedly like murder. So let's say that zombies are murdering people.
They are when they eat a human's brains. I have conceded from the beginning it is a crime to kill a person.
And they all have to, repeatedly.
They don't have to.
Oh,
they desire it. And I can tell you from personal experience, sometimes we humans desire the same thing, Mr. Collings.
So many comments. So, they kill people, they murder people, which is?
Some of them do.
A crime. A felony, in fact. A felony for which your right to vote is withdrawn. So even accepting the hypothetical put forth that they had it at one point, they lose it when they bite somebody, which they all do.
Which some do. We've heard statistics. Not every zombie is a murderer. Not every zombie even commits assault. And we have never disagreed with the contention that a zombie guilty of a crime, charged and convicted in a court of law, should suffer the legal consequences, which may include disenfranchisement as an individual. What you are asserting,
you're right. And when the grass dies above Grandma's grave, let's dig her out and charge her too for killing the grass. She's only dead. It's ridiculous. Dig up Grandmary. Real simple. They're dead. And it's not that they're icky or they're stinky, which your children are not, they're angels. Sent by Jesus and the angels.
Christianist. Now I see what's going on. It's the Jewish members of my clientele to whom you object. Mr. Collings.
It is that they are dead, and dead people don't got no rights. You know why? Because they're dead. It's real easy. Dead, no rights, because dead. It's not, well, they died, but they got up, and so now they got rights, even though they bite people sometimes, but sometimes they don't, so that we should love them. Just give them a big old kiss on their stinky cheek and turn your face away real fast, so just in case they do snap, they'll miss, because then they ain't criminals, they can still vote. That's freaking complicated. Dead, no civil rights, because they're dead. No voting. Government rests.
Mr. Collings laments a complicated world. Well, I lament it too, but I don't deny its existence. The fact is, some of the dead aren't finished. They aren't finished. And they're still people. Still people. Fact the state is never disputed. And they would like to vote. They would like to participate in structuring the communities in which they live. And my clients have never suggested that any of them that commits a crime should not be held responsible. They should. But it's simply a fallacy to say the dead are dead. They're not. There's two kinds of dead, and you know it. There's two kinds of dead, you know it. One wants to vote. The other is his grandma, apparently.
Don't you go messing with Grammy.
I am not the one who suggested disinterment repeatedly in this proceeding.
But she's my Grammy.
I will not go there. Remember this. The question is simple. The question is simple. Zombies are dangerous. They know it. When they commit a crime, they should be prosecuted. They should be prosecuted. But they're not brainless monsters. They are people, and the Constitution, 5th and the 14th Amendment, give them the right to vote. And the state can only take that away if it proves it can deal with the zombies in some less restrictive way, then taking away that right. If there's a less restrictive way, you must let zombies vote today. Thank you.
Okay, we've heard closing statements. I am going to give the jury a brief 15-second recess.
Wow, they're actually conferring. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Group in and confer. Take the stand, please.
We have decided, the jury has decided that they don't have a... Huh?
Lean in closer.
Lean in closer.
They can't hear you. It's
Okay.
just for that.
So we've decided... This is really awkward. that since they don't have a pulse, they can't vote.
Yes! Suck it!
I shall be filing my appeal forthwith, Your Honor.
Okay, I want to point out one thing. Both of these horror sci-fi authors, spec fiction authors, are also lawyers. They're actually lawyers. So you saw them in action. Give them a hand.
Not anymore. Hey, that was fun. Good job.
That was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'll be down in the artist alley. You guys,
Great.
that was fun.